Hi, what's up? I'm Channel Pup, the mascot for the level-headed fanboy. Welcome to a very special video. So in lead up to the release of Sonic Superstars, keeping in with traditions lately, Sega have released an animated prologue short for Sonic Superstars called Trio of Trouble. And I figured, yes, I could talk about that, but then I thought a lot more about kind of the history of supplementary short media for Sonic, and it got me thinking, why don't we rank it? So that's what we're going to do. From worst to best, we are going to rank all 14 Sonic the Hedgehog shorts. Starting with number 14, Dr. Eggman Takes Over LEGO HQ. So we've got kind of a fly-on-the-wall documentary style for this one, which is fun. A LEGO minifigure of Dr. Eggman takes control of LEGO HQ employee Carl and causes a series of inconveniences at the factory, including just banal pranks, basically. While the humor generally skews a little bit more juvenile, understandably so, Mike Pollock's enthusiastic performance is what really elevates this. LEGO Eggman is clearly having so much fun that, I won't lie, it is infectious even for me as an adult, and it genuinely got a big grin out of me when he was gleefully serving the other employees eggs in the break room when they wanted sandwiches or something else.
Carl, can I have a sandwich?
No, you get eggs!
Why are you doing this, Carl?
Eggs for you! Next egg!
Could have done without the other employee going full cartoon, but nonetheless, like LEGO itself, it's good clean fun. In at number 13 is Around the World in 80 Seconds. This was made to tie in with the very first Sonic movie, and it's a charming little short. A big part of the final showdown between Sonic and Robotnik in that first Sonic movie was traveling around the world, going to see Paris, the pyramids, and so on and so forth. And this short kind of expands upon that with its own miniature world adventure, clocking in at 80 seconds, and it's pretty effective. This is mostly a dialogue-heavy short, though. It's got a pretty restrictive art style, kind of looking more like a diary. It's got that kind of lined paper and pen aesthetic, and everything's very sketch. And I'll tell you what, while I would actually like to see Sonic in these locations, and I think we could get some cool animation out of that, this isn't bad by any stretch. It's a nice piece of world building. You could probably think that this is Sonic's diary, basically. And yeah, he's narrating the whole thing for us. As just a piece of supplementary media, it's nice, and I think the animation style just does what it needs to do, and as I say, it's got charm. I think part of the reason why this might have also been done is obviously they must have funneled a lot more budget into just redesigning Sonic for that first movie. That design probably maybe wasn't finalized by the time they were making this, so, you know, it had to probably be made in a hurry on a very low budget. I think it's effective for what it is. I don't think it's bad by any stretch, but I am hoping that we'll get a bigger world adventure for movie Sonic in the future. In at number 12 is the Papercraft Mania Adventures, which are a spin-off from the Sonic Mania Adventures. Think Sonic meets South Park. Okay, without the crude adult humor and even dialogue at that point. Once again, these are clearly made on the quick and on the cheap. And the craft paper aesthetic is done to bring a nice deliberate style to an otherwise very cheap form of animation. So there's not a lot of action here or anything like that. These are just little character-centric, just mini-sodes effectively. They're much shorter than the regular Sonic Mania adventures, and these were just a seasonal thing. They had one for Valentine's Day and they had one for Christmas. You've got Dr. Eggman trying to con Sonic into buying fake Chaos Emeralds, which of course Knuckles wants to get his hand on, and when they find out they've been had, Amy hands Knuckles her Pico Pico hammer and he goes to town on Eggman's stand. Then for the other one, they're divided up into their own little teams as they build snowmen. Mighty and Ray, they work together well, Sonic and Tails work together well, while Amy and Knuckles can't agree on a design, and it's just cute. You get to decide who won. These are cute, they're simple, they're perfectly effective, but they're nothing overly noteworthy, nor are they supposed to be, so I think they're perfectly comfortable sitting here at number 12. They don't need to be any higher than that. In at number 11 is the Tails Tube series. While Tails Tube serves as a fun series of interactions between Tails and the other Sonic characters, it also serves as supplementary media contextualizing and clarifying some of the messier storytelling in the series. It's a handy-dandy guide for the burning questions that lore-enthusiastic Sonic fans may have. It's a decent introduction to the world of Sonic if you're a new fan, and it's going to give you some clarifications if you've been a fan long enough to see just how disjointed the storytelling in this franchise has been thus far. It answers the questions like, why is Robotnik referred to as Eggman in the later games, or how the human and animal territories work in the world. It generally does an okay job with tying loose ends together, even if some of those answers just end up being kinda stupid, like, where does Sonic live? Oh, he's homeless. Also though, I wish we could have learned more about Tails through this, but it generally serves for Tails and just other cast members to just relentlessly gush over Sonic because he's kind of a messianic figure in this universe now, which is one element of the current lore that I'm really not fond of. Even if it doesn't necessarily give me my ideal answers though, it has done wonders and demonstrated a commitment to better world building. Here's hoping that we'll see that bleed over into the games.
I love Tails!
The animation consists of pretty simple VTubing mocap, however the art style really elevates this. I really like the aesthetic of Tails' tech and his setup, and I think this was a really nice way to kind of frame this. In at number 10 are the Sonic and Chip Special Shorts. When I think of the potential of shorts featuring Sonic traveling the world, this is a bit more what I'd hoped for than Around the World in 80 Seconds. Here we have a selection of 3 silent shorts, this time fully rendered in CGI courtesy of Marza Animation Planet. And first of all, holy cow, these shorts are absolutely gorgeous. Sonic in CGI animation has never looked better than this. Each of these shorts is themed around a different location in the world of Sonic Unleashed. We've got Sonic and Chip using chopsticks to fight over the last Bao Bun in Chunan, Chip busting his teeth on a frozen chocolate bar in Haloska, and Sonic falling victim to a cascade of collapsing coconuts in Adabad. It's the slapstick silliness we've come to expect from Sonic shorts since, but with the animation quality of a high-budget Pixar blockbuster, which makes these a feast for the eyes. In at number 9 is Man of the Year from Sonic Jam. Funny enough, Sonic Adventure 2 would not be the first time we'd see a Sonic speed down the hills of San Francisco streets, causing chaos in his wake. When Dr. Robotnik finds out that Sonic is being crowned Man of the Year by the adoring public, he sets out in a Sonic disguise to tarnish his reputation in the first of many silent animated adventures for Sonic the Hedgehog. While backgrounds are clearly early CGI renderings that do show their age in spots, the character animation is wonderful as the Japanese designs of Sonic and Dr. Robotnik have been flawlessly translated into smooth, expressive Western animation reminiscent of the Animaniacs, which is a great fit for Sonic. This short-lived Sonic Jam tie-in animation is full of energy, charm, silliness, and motion, and offers us a really nice look at what a Sonic movie in the 1990s could have looked like, and hell yeah would I want to see it. Speeding in at number 8 is Sonic Colors Rise of the Wisps, sort of a midquel to Sonic Colors taking place on Sweet Mountain, which gives us a little backstory for some of the new features in the Sonic Colors Ultimate Remaster, including the Rival Rush races against Metal Sonic and the Jade Ghost Wisp. With the help of Metal Sonic, Orbot and Cubot are sent to hunt down the Wisps that escaped Dr. Eggman's processing plant. So it's up to Sonic and Tails with the help of the Wisps to take on Metal Sonic and free the Wisps of Sweet Mountain. It's no secret that I really don't like the writing of Sonic Colors. I'm fine with its simpler premise, but its over-insistence on bad jokes and refusal to acknowledge its stakes make for a more childish adventure that aims a lot lower than Sonic typically goes for better or for worse. To me, Sonic Colors Rise of the Wisps is a big improvement on pretty much every level. Sonic and Tails generally feel more authentically witty and less desperate to crack a bad joke than they do in the game's writing. The Wisps actually fear their fate at the hands of Dr. Eggman, and pairing Orbot and Cubot with Metal Sonic makes for a really nice dynamic, with Orbot and Cubot serving as the typical comedic flunkies, while Metal Sonic is the straight man. With a story that leads into the cutesier, more absurdist side of Sonic, Metal Sonic offsets this wonderfully, and the action-centric second half feels a bit more in tune with what I like to see from Sonic storytelling, as we've got Metal Sonic throwing down with the man himself by wielding the power of the Wisps to achieve new forms. The art style is also simplified when compared to most other animated Sonic shorts, but it fits the tone of Sonic colors nicely with its lack of hard outlines and edges. I think the only thing I'm not so fond of was the framing device of Sonic and Tails telling a story and doing goofy Eggman impressions at the start of the short. At the same time, that's more of a personal preference thing though. I don't think there's anything objectively wrong with that. However, I do think this could have been set up as just a scene of Dr. Eggman putting the Wisps in the pots, instead of, being done through the framing device of the J-Ghost Wisp is telling her story and Sonic and Tails are doing Eggman impressions, which they're clearly doing because for whatever reason they couldn't get Mike Pollock on for this one. On a whole though, again, it is nice to see the premise of Sonic Colors' story done a bit more justice in this short. In at number 7 is Team Sonic Racing Overdrive. Sonic meets wacky races, basically. Team Sonic Racing Overdrive leans into the sillier side of the Sonic franchise, as a huge deal of the characters from the modern cast are thrown onto a racetrack, and naturally antics ensue from there. It's a really simple premise, as the different characters have their own different approaches to racing, and their competitive spirits which shine through in a series of sight gags and slapstick, which is only emphasized by the lack of dialogue, as this is once again a silent short. Beyond the playful rivalry of the characters on the tracks, Dr. Eggman and his egg pawns are doing what they can to disrupt proceedings by distracting the do-gooders. There's a fun scene of Big the Cat just trying to cross the road to buy some merch of his best friend Froggy, ever supportive. While constrained to purely a silent comedy, I think the characters and their interactions on the tracks shine through here, and the animation is really pretty, feeling like something of an evolution of that iconic Yuakawa Sonic art style, albeit a bit more rigid. Team Sonic Racing Overdrive is just a lot of fun. In at number 6, we have Chow in Space. We all remember the Chow in Space billboards from the Sonic Adventure games. Well, in this festive short, we get a little look at what those films could have been like. Except here, it's in the form of a dreaming, sleepwalking Chow that Sonic is babysitting in a Chow garden, as he tries to keep it out of harm's way as it's sleepwalking around. In the dream, our freshly graduated Chow has enlisted in an assault on the Death Egg, where he's being attacked by a Dark Chow, but with the help of some old allies, including what appears to be like his college teacher and maybe, I don't know, his sister or something, he's able to turn Super Chow and save the day, winning the praise of a dearly missed Tikal the Echidna. Also, holy crap, we got a Super Chow before a Super Amy. That's oddly political. It's full of fun nods and references to Sonic history, including Sonic Forces. It's got a couple of fun layers that make for a unique story this time, and to no surprise, the animation is really pretty. Pair that with the implication that Sonic's nose got ripped off, and this one is a winner on all fronts. Alright, buckle in, this next one requires a lot of explaining. In at number 5 is Sonic in Night of the Werehog. In a lot of marketing for Sonic Unleashed, Marza Animation Planet really took center stage as we have another silent animated CGI short with Sonic and Chip, but this time it's a bit more expanded than the special shorts. So we've got a haunted house, which is home to 3 ghosts. There's La, a lady ghost with a collection of Polaroids of scare kids that'll make Prince Andrew blush, and then there's the 2 ghostly fellows who compete for her affection, and to do so they provide her with more pictures of scared kids. So, Sonic and Chip stumble into this QAnon conspiracy in the making, and while on their explorations, the ghosts find themselves a new target in the easily startled Chip. However, when the sun goes down, Sonic transforms into the Werehog, who La finds herself incredibly attracted to, more so than either of the other 2 ghosts. And so, the 2 ghostly men team up in a bid to defeat the Werehog. Man, these are some horny ghosts. Using his might and their camera against them, Sonic the Werehog is able to defeat his ghostly opponents. However, La discovers the key to getting close to the werehunk of her dreams. So the short ends with her locking Chip in a box, taking on his appearance, and being all beggy and flirtatious towards Sonic the Werehog, all while taking on the form of Chip. So we got the optics of Chip really being thirsty for Sonic the Werehog. 3 words, out of pocket. From a narrative standpoint, this short is straight up bonkers. However, it's the directing and animation where Night of the Werehog really shines. Aside from some ropey looking humans at the start, Jesus Christ, what is wrong with their faces? This animation doesn't feel far detached from the standards of Pixar back in 2008. I could genuinely imagine this playing as a short before a Pixar film. It looks that good. It's full of fun nods to the various tropes of the horror genre, of course made appropriate for kids too. But I can definitely see clear Pixar inspiration here, from the overall tone to the jazzy music to the presentation of the end credits. You can tell they're really trying to appeal to that Pixar crowd here. Night of the Werehog definitely has the highest production value of any of these shorts, and I'd love to see this style revisited with the new writing and directing teams that have worked on the new traditionally animated shorts. At the same time though, I'm more than welcoming toward the 2D animation, as is something we don't see nearly enough of these days. In at number 4 is the Sonic Mania Adventures. Speaking hyperbolically here, I think you'd have to be trying pretty hard not to enjoy the Sonic Mania Adventures. This series of shorts takes place after classic Sonic returns home to his dimension following the events of Sonic Forces. Dr. Robotnik has set up camp on Angel Island, and with the help of Metal Sonic, he seeks to gather the Chaos Emeralds as well as the Master Emerald to... well, I guess he'd have crossed that bridge when he'd come to it. We've got some fun converging storylines here. Sonic and Tails both beat Dr. Robotnik, but when he steals both the Tornado and the Master Emerald, it sets Knuckles on the hunt for both Sonic and Tails. Meanwhile, Ray the Flying Squirrel is looking for Mighty the Armadillo, who doesn't materialize until the 11th hour when Ray is attacked by Metal Sonic. So all of these characters are all converging on Robotnik's latest fortress, and it ends with a showdown between our new Sonic crew and an Emerald-enhanced Metal Sonic. There are elements of the Sonic Mania Adventures that don't quite deliver, they're just not quite so satisfying. The misunderstanding with Knuckles believing Sonic stole the Master Emerald amounts to nothing other than a gag and puts an abrupt stop to Metal Sonic, meaning that it does end on a gag rather than a climactic end battle, despite laying down hints of a build-up to a climactic end battle. That aside, it's a charming adventure that gives each of the Sonic Mania cast their time in the spotlight, with really pretty animation drawing inspiration from the Junio Sonic animations from Sonic CD, albeit with a bit more emphasis on expression rather than action. But my favorite chapter of this ongoing story is the festive epilogue, where Amy stumbles across the discarded Metal Sonic and goes on her own journey to reunite him with Dr. Robotnik for the holidays, showcasing Amy's defining trait, her compassion, even for her enemies. It's a sweet note to end the story on. In at number 3 is Sonic Superstars Trio of Trouble. This one is all about the villains. It begins with Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Amy investigating a temple when they're confronted by returning obscure Sonic villain, Fang the Hunter. However, Fang is outsmarted by Tails, who causes his Marvelous Queen vehicle to malfunction, sending him into the sights of a demonic Amy Rose with her Pico Pico hammer. It turns out, though, it's just a dream Fang had while dozing behind Dr. Robotnik and new ally, Trip, as they're on their way to investigate an ancient tapestry inside a temple on the North Star Island. While Dr. Robotnik investigates the imagery, Fang protects his leader from an attack from a giant snake, while Trip is clearly at odds with Robotnik's disregard for the natural environment. There's a great dynamic at play here. I get the sense that Fang the Hunter isn't truly evil so much as he's misled and out of his depth. He works hard to protect Robotnik, who clearly has zero regard for his or Trip's safety. Fang and Trip are also clearly more competent than their leader, who comes to the conclusion of drawing a cow, while those two have just defended him from a giant killer snake. Going by this, I'm pretty certain that they'll be rebelling against Robotnik in the later part of the game, and maybe, just maybe, we'll get to play as them. Trip is clearly at odds with all of this, so I'd at least hazard a small bet we'll be playing as her. I don't even know why she's with Dr. Robotnik. Powerhouse Animation, though, they continue to amaze me with the quality of their Sonic animations. We've got the return of Tyson Hess's art style in its evolved, more defined form that we saw in Sonic Origins, and it looks incredible. The backgrounds, they're truly dazzling as well. Also, Dr. Robotnik surveying an area in a safari hat for some reason is something I've wanted to see for a long time, and I'm really happy to see it now. In at number 2 is Sonic in Drone Home. Following the events of the second Sonic movie, Sonic and his newfound posse are adjusting to life in Green Hills. While Knuckles seeks to return Maddie's books to the library, Sonic decides to investigate a disturbance at a nearby junkyard where they're attacked by a remaining Dr. Robotnik drone who has been augmenting itself using resources from the junkyard. And so Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles team up to take this new junk mech down. However, it transpires that the key to neutralizing this particular mech is to appeal to its human side. It turns out that while it's programmed to conquer the world for Dr. Robotnik, it really has its own ambitions in poetry. In the end, the kindness of Sonic and Tails won the day. Now, while it's all done in a far more light-hearted tone, this short film does toy with something that's very much in line with how Dr. Robotnik's robots are handled in the games, particularly E-102 Gamma. See, Gamma's story is all about showcasing how cruel and callous Dr. Robotnik is towards his creations, and how the compassion of Amy Rose humanizes him. Unit, this new mech, definitely does not go down as dark of a path as Gamma does. Obviously with Gamma, he goes on a quest to tear down the Eggman Empire, ending with him taking his own life to free the Flicky inside. And it does make sense they didn't go down that road, given that for now we're to believe that Dr. Robotnik is dead and that this is the last remaining Robotnik drone. You know, what's he gonna take down? Also, we haven't seen Robotnik putting animals in these mechs either. So yeah, different circumstances. I'm not going to say it's as strong of a story as Gamma's story by any stretch, but it is nice to see the character of Unit being handled in this way. Once again, these Sonic movies are staying really faithful to the games in some form, albeit with the, in my opinion, far superior characterization of Sonic himself in these movies. Tails and Knuckles' characterization here is a little simplified from the second movie, however, as Tails is portrayed as a bit more insecure than he was in the feature film, and Knuckles is a bit more dim-witted. But for this short, that works just fine, even if it is a little at odds with continuity, and the sight of Tails hiding behind Sonic has me a little bit taken aback, makes me want to throw up in my mouth a little bit. The animation in Drone Home is basically the same overall aesthetic as the feature films, except here it's fully animated, and with it, it takes on a more colorful and slightly stylized appearance, which is a welcome change for this short. All in all, I could drone on about Drone Home, but we gotta move over to the number 1 pick, which is Sonic Frontiers Prologue, Divergence. Honest to God, this absolutely should have been the opening cutscene for Sonic Frontiers. I don't care that it's in a different art style. It's been too long since we had a show-stopping opening for a Sonic game, and this would easily have been the best opening cutscene since the iconic opening of Sonic Unleashed. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end of its very own, but it also does a better job framing the game's overarching mystery than the opening of the actual game. But that aside, we have an introspective tale for Knuckles as he ponders his duty of protecting the Master Emerald and who the power of the Emeralds truly belongs to, where they originate, and why he lives the solitary life that he does. He goes to help a Chow in the Sky Sanctuary, where he finds himself enamored by a piece of ancient technology that he's never seen before. Curiously, he places the gear into the shrine, which teleports him to the Starfall Islands, where he's attacked by the Ancients' defenses and eventually imprisoned on Error's Island by Sage. Not only does this short do a great job setting up the story ahead, it serves as a great character study for Knuckles, as our stalwart warrior is questioning his purpose and whether he has the right to even take up these duties, and how his curiosity leads to his captivity, his solitude becomes his weakness. The directing and atmosphere of this short are astounding. There's a great sense of foreboding. Of the traditionally animated Sonic shorts, this one definitely looks the prettiest and feels the most cinematic. Superb presentation, excellent character writing, what more could you want? Which brings us to the end of this ranking. I have to say, there's not a bad short on this list. As far as short supplementary media goes, the lows are actually really high. And the highs are, yeah, really, really high. For a game series that doesn't exactly have a proven track record of polish, these short films are top of the line. As far as animated shorts go anyway, they're outright impressive. I mean, okay, saying that doesn't include, say, like Around the World in 80 Seconds or the Papercraft Mania Adventures or Eggman Takes Over Lego HQ. They are basic but effective, and their simplicity is what makes them work. But when it comes to things like the Sonic Frontiers Prologue or the Sonic Superstars Prologue, there's a real seal of quality here, and as it is, I think Sonic definitely is one of the characters kind of leading the charge when it comes to making the jump from video game interactive media to just video media. He is a character that can do exceptionally well in just telling a story. And there's such a pedigree on display here that I'm honestly I'm really impressed, and I like it when Sonic impresses me. It really does make me crave, though, a better Sonic TV series. Sonic Prime is fine. It's above average family entertainment, but shorts like Divergence, Trio of Trouble, The Mania Adventures, they really demonstrate the potential of a Sonic animated series. And all with traditional hand-drawn animation, which is just so sorely missing from the pop culture zeitgeist these days. There is a great deal of love put into each and every one of these shorts on the ranking. There's not a bad one on the list. And that really, really says a lot. So what do you guys think? What is your favorite of the Sonic shorts? Comment below, discuss, and as always, if you enjoyed this video and you want to support more like it, be sure to hit subscribe, hit the like button, and in the description below is a link to my Patreon page where you can get early behind-the-scenes access to a Sonic short that I'm working on myself. A live-action animated hybrid where Sonic goes to appeal a speeding ticket. If there's any chance of it living up to the brilliance that's been on display here, I can only hope and work as hard as I can, but if you do want to see behind-the-scenes stuff, I'm pretty sure like the script is up on there right now. You can check it out in any of the patron tiers. You also get your name in the credits of my videos, and now a special shout out to the patrons in the $10 and $5 tiers. I'm not going to be yelling these or putting on any crazy voice this time because my throat is killing me. I definitely caught some kind of lurgy at the Sonic Symphony, and I really kind of want to look after my voice so I can, actually make more videos rather than, I guess, destroy it screaming out the names in the $10 tiers, so sorry about that. Here goes anyway. Glad Goku, Sharif Pai, Dare Denny, SSS06, Kale Bennett, That Jordo, Ken K in brackets from Warheads, Joakim Sagini, Dazzle Fizzle, Is Sonic Team Making You Blue, Dimps Leaving You Dumped, Big Red Button Giving You a Big Red Headache, Try Sonic the Chronic, aka Mr. SP, Sergio, Cirrus the Skeptic. Can you believe it, guys? Spider-Man 2 is just a month away. Spider-Man 2 in a month, woohoo! I'm so happy about this information. And very little acting required there, actually. That's aka Azinko, and then, of course, Vera Wild. Thank you, all of you, for your generosity, and to those of you at home just watching, thank you so much for doing so, and have a great day.